All right, we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody, depending on where you're from. It's a couple of days after the actual MinecraftEdu Twitter chat, so we are joined post-date with our guest host of Tuesday night, which was Brett Salakas, and we were having the discussion on Tuesday night on MinecraftEdu Chat of supporting immersive virtual experiences in Minecraft and beyond. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we host a Tuesday evening at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Minecraft Education Twitter chat, which happens using the hashtag MinecraftEdu. And directly afterwards, we normally hold this live stream to give us an opportunity to hang out with our guest hosts for just a little bit longer because we can't get enough of them, and have a little bit better of a discussion that isn't limited by the 140 characters. But we still had an amazing chat, and we had lots of people involved, and many great responses to the questions that were asked and the questions that we were dealing with. So my name is Garrett Zimmer. I'm one of the co-founders of the MinecraftEdu Twitter chat. Along with me is my co-founder Mark Grundell, waving over there. And I'm an education trainer, a Minecraft mentor, and Minecraft expert. And yeah, basically I live, eat, and breathe all things Minecraft and education. Mark, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we will introduce or allow Brett Salakas a chance to introduce himself as well.
I'm Mark Radel, fifth grade teacher. I'm joining you from my my classroom where some of that Minecraft magic happens, and hopefully I'm creating immersive experiences for my kids. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, this chat is normally it's for Wednesday for you. So what is it now? Saturday, Brett?
Yeah, Saturday morning.
It's like a total time warp, huh? Yeah, super excited to be with you. I really enjoyed the chat, and it's awesome to do this a couple days later and rehash it with you. Looking forward to the conversation. So go ahead, Brett. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, g'day everybody. I'm Brett Salakas. So as you can probably hear from my accent, so I'm Australian. So I was one of the founders of the hashtag AussieEd, which is grown to be the largest online teacher organisation or collection of teachers in Australia. So we connect, we collaborate, and you know, we learn from each other. And part of the beauty of having an online existence is being able to connect globally and learn from teachers all around the world. So that's what we do, and certainly how I was able to cross paths with you boys and be able to talk about Minecraft and how we can all use the immersive environment that Minecraft can create to make better learning experiences for our students.
That's fantastic. And we definitely feel the same. I mean, you know, starting up Minecraft Ed and MinecraftEdu, the Twitter chat, has really just opened the doors. For those of you who are watching this who haven't had a chance to join one of the Twitter chats, I would encourage you to do so. The number of opportunities and collaboration opportunities that it makes available to you worldwide is by far amazing.
Yeah, do it for selfish reasons. Trust me, you're going to be a way better teacher if you participate in our chats. Do it for the selfish reason.
Good call. So listen, we had the topic this week of supporting immersive virtual experiences in Minecraft and beyond. And what was interesting about it was the number of respondents that were there. So let's talk a little bit about some of the highlights of question one. So question one was explain what a virtual or immersive virtual experience means to you. So Brett, when you were coming up with this question, what was in your mind, first of all, as to an answer to that question?
Look, I think I was a little bit biased because I have already used Minecraft as an immersive experience. So I know that I had a sort of preconceived notions of what I thought immersive virtual sort of experiences utilizing Minecraft were. But I thought immersive experiences are things that we know is good, that they're good pedagogy, good teaching practice. So when we begin teaching children how to learn to read and write, we start with sight words. We have word walls. We have all these immersive practices that where we deliberately surround our students in an immersive environment that allows them to flourish with their learning. That practice is good. We know that's good practice. So why not be able to create a virtual experience that replicates what we know is good pedagogy and good teaching?
Absolutely. Mark, what does it say to you?
Well, I mean, I completely agree with Brett. And, you know, for me, when I want to create an immersive experience for my kids, I don't want to just focus on subject or content, but I want it to consume them. I want it to literally surround them, right? So they're thinking about it in class, they're going home, they're excited to work on it and research it at home. But you know, it's like you eat, sleep, and breathe it. You know, it consumes you, and you're passionate about learning more and delving deeper into it. For me, you know, that's what an immersive experience is. And I think, you know, Brett, amazing topic. I think Minecraft just lends itself so well to facilitating immersive experiences.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of research out there right now on play-based learning. And one of the fundamental principles of play-based learning and how it fits, especially with game-based learning and things like Minecraft, is this element of flow. And I think, to me, immersion is about flow. It's about getting into that state. It's about feeling the emotion of that time. So, for example, when you're in an immersive world such as Minecraft and you've built a giant castle and you have zombies, a horde of zombies coming at your door, what does that do to a student? And this is how I think about it, is how does that impact them? If we put them into that frame and said, okay, well, instead of zombies, these are actually the hordes of Britain coming to do battle against the American colonists, right? The colonials. And this becomes a situation where instead of reading by rote, a student is actually able to immerse themselves in what it might have felt like, go deeper into critical thinking on, okay, well, how did the Americans of that day feel when they were being attacked? And this, to me, represents a virtual experience, an immersive experience. It's something where the cognitive function is not just tied to content, as you said, Brett. It's tied to emotion. It gives them a point of reference and a frame of reference to look at, and it puts them into that deep state of flow, which we all know from a pedagogical standpoint is one of the most best places to start your learning from, is when you're in that state of flow. I'm probably explaining it very, very poorly. The researchers on play-based learning are going to hate me, but that's kind of the way that I look at it.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think we all get very excited at the moment. We've got, you know, augmented reality. Like Pokemon Go was a great example of being able to introduce the masses to augmented reality. But we've got augmented reality, we've got virtual reality. I got very excited the other day when I was Googling Project Scorpio for the new Xbox One. It's going to come out probably in about 12 months. In about 12 months' time, which is particularly specifically catered to be able to run virtual worlds and virtual gaming. These virtual gaming things, as teachers, yes, everyone wants to buy into it because so much engagement and so exciting. But we need to make sure that it's not just engaging because it's fad and it's catchy. We need to underlie it with proper pedagogical principles. And exactly as you were saying there, being able to give a virtual experience, having students being able to empathize with experiences that have happened perhaps way in the past or on the other side of the globe, having that social connection, that personal connection, just takes their learning to another level.
For sure. Mark, you and I have talked about this before, this whole idea of teaching mathematics by way of what's the term that, so back in my day, I learned mathematics by, okay, if a train was going at speed A and meeting train B, when do they meet in the middle, that kind of thing. Or if you have a factory creating X number of widgets. To me, there's no immersive experience in that. However, you transition that into, okay, how many different items does it take to make a crafting or to craft a pickaxe or to do this or to do that? You put it into a frame of reference where the student can go in and actually replicate that scenario. They're a part of it. So they now have a frame of reference that they did not have for a factory or a train. And that, I think, ties into it. Mark, what are your thoughts?
I agree 100%. You know, I've been going around from classroom to classroom with my Rubik's Cube, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching kids that, you know, this is mathematics, and inevitably it leads to a conversation about Minecraft. And I talk to the kids about Minecraft and how there is so much math in Minecraft. And they don't even realize that they're doing mathematics, but you know, they are following algorithms. They are following procedures, and you know, you want to make sure your roof is level, your walls are the same size. You know what I mean? You're doing measurement, you're doing estimation. You need to know how much of these resources you need to gather. So
and there becomes
they're doing math
too.
They don't even realize that they're doing math.
Yeah.
And you know, I want to go back to a point that Brett said, because this is something else that we talked about. You know, the novelty factor, right? I think immersion supersedes engagement anytime. You know, you can have kids engaged, but they might be engaged in Minecraft because it's Minecraft. And Garrett, you're a strong proponent of this.
Absolutely.
The novelty factor will wear off, and that is a fear of mine. You know, I am excited about getting teachers to use Minecraft, but it's important that we use it correctly, right? Because if we're just using it as a fad,
glorified worksheet.
It's right, or as a reward or something, it's going to go away. It's not being used to its full potential. So
absolutely,
I think
like any tool, you've got to use your tool correctly.
Yes,
I think it's the biggest challenge with Minecraft is it's fundamentally falling along this line, this path that is still being built, and that is game-based learning. But at the same time, we're trying to match it with very, very old pedagogy, very old classroom types and typographies and styles that doesn't necessarily match. So as a teacher, and this is one of the things that I hear you talk about all the time, Mark, Brett, I'm sure you've spoken about it before. Stephen Isaacs is a big one that talks about this a lot, is it really does, when you're getting into Minecraft, it requires a shift in thinking. We have to move away from the didactic method and move towards this more engaged model of letting students do and letting students create in order to drive learning forward. So this segues very, very nicely into question 2, which is, what does an ideal immersive classroom environment look and feel like? So you two are both educators, teachers. I'm a teacher trainer, so I don't have my own classroom. I have my ideal. Mark, can I borrow your students? But
yeah.
Brett,
come on down, Gary.
Awesome. So for you, you know, talking about making not just the experience or a lesson immersive, but your entire classroom immersive, what does that mean to you?
Look, I think what having a whole immersive classroom means is that it's not an individual experience for the child. You're actually setting up a situation where you're enabling collaboration and collaborative learning to take place. And if we look at you know, lots of the research and lots of futurists and forward-thinking think tanks and stuff like you know, the Institute for the Future, they've been like predicting work skills and qualities for the last 45 years, and they'll name skills like social intelligence, empathy, cross-cultural competencies, things like that. So if we are able to set up an immersive environment where we can, yes, get across from a pedagogical way, we get across you know, whatever our lesson content might be, whatever the theme is that we want the children to immerse in, but at the same time, we're developing these skills in empathy. We're developing, giving them the ability to cross cultural boundaries and work in a collaborative environment. These are skills that they're going to be able to utilize off into the future, and I think that's what pays real dividends. Is that we're meeting our, you know, we're good pedagogical practice. Children are learning. We're meeting our curriculum outcomes. We're making sure that things are happening in the way that teachers need them to happen. But what we're really doing is we're giving children an opportunity to develop the skills that they're going to utilize in the future and make them better lifelong learners, better people. And that's what education is all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mark,
and
for you?
You know, Brett, I think you said it perfectly, but for me, you know, it must be that collaborative element, you know, without the collaboration. And I think that collaboration really spawns these unintended moments of learning, these, you know, almost these unintended consequences where students shine and you know, they start talking and new learning takes place, this unintended learning, as I call it. You know, everyone's might be doing something different, but they're still communicating, sharing their ideas, showing what they're doing and how they're presenting it, which is spawning different learning. You know, a month ago, I participated in something called the Mars Challenge with AJ Giuliani and John Spencer, and we recreated a school on Mars. And I had some kids physically building out of cardboard and straws and tinfoil and saran wrap. We built a school on Mars. I had other kids doing research, like where on Mars should we build the school? I had another group of boys build the school on Mars in Minecraft. And like they tried to take ideas from the one group. And then I had another group of kids create a website for the school. I didn't even know they made it on Wix. I didn't even know that they were making a website. So it's really just amazing. Like, we were all working towards a common goal, but we were all doing different things, but we were bouncing ideas off each other. And all this learning was taking place. I mean, they're learning about the geography of Mars and, you know, where's the best place to put the school and what's the temperature going to be? All right, we got to put it on the equator because it's the warmest there. And let's do it near Olympus Mons because it's the biggest mountain in the solar system. I didn't even know that. Really amazing stuff happening. And they were immersed in it. And the kids were going home and they were researching, well, what's the gravity on Mars? Okay, something that's 100 pounds is going to be 38 pounds on Mars. You know, and they're coming back with these like calculations of, all right, so we'll be able to carry stuff even though it's heavy here. Is really neat. Like the ideas that were coming up, and then how, you know, some of those kids took those ideas and then rebuilt a school in Minecraft on Mars. So,
and this is what happens. No, that's a beautiful story, and I think it illustrates. There's a number of highlighted points that I want to make from the community. So a lot of the community. So first of all, on the last question, we're talking about, you know, the fact that immersive is doing, right? It's about experiencing. It's about being involved in that moment, in that state of flow. And I want to highlight what ends up happening with that from a psychological standpoint. When you're involved in something, when you're engaged in something, immersed in something that grossly, that deeply, you start to critically think about everything that could go on. And that is exactly the story that you just told. You have students who are passionate about something. I'm going to actually refer to your original comment from Tuesday night on A2, which was the immersive classroom is not subject-based, but thematic. It's focused around student interests. Teachers may guide the learning, but it is student-directed. And what happens is you get this tremendous sense of empowerment when students are actually doing. They're in the moment doing it. And that empowerment leads them to start having those collaborative conversations together. And we see it in Minecraft all the time, saying, okay, well, what if I built it this way? What if I did it this way? What if I did this? And they start to research more and they start to gain more. The didactic method does not fit with that. The didactic method of sitting up there and preaching about, this is what Mars looks like, this is the gravity, this is that. The students will remember that for test time and then never remember it again. But in those connected, collaborative virtual experiences like the one you're talking about, I guarantee you that every one of those students remembers something about that 5 years down the road, because the second you say, hey, did you hear that somebody was building something on Mars? That student will emotionally go back to that state in time where they felt empowered to create something and remember the information. And that's what I think is the powerful potential of this immersive learning paradigm that we're talking about. So that brilliant anecdote, Mark. Absolutely brilliant anecdote. Any thoughts on that anecdote, Brett?
Oh, look, only that it's probably a good time to segue into the first conversation that you and I ever had about Minecraft, which was actually the way we crossed paths. We were talking about a situation that I had just tried at my school, and that was something that's very, I suppose, special to Australia and New Zealand, but not overly unique to the rest of the world. But so in Australia and New Zealand, we have a thing called ANZAC, which is Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, which is a really important part of our cultural identity and our cultural history, which is the very first battle that Australia and New Zealand got involved in, which is in World War I, as our nations. Prior to that, we were colonies of England. It was our first foray onto the political world, I suppose, as Australia as an identity. So that particular battle in Gallipoli with the Anzac is of significant cultural experience. And what we were able to do at my school was have a situation over the break, which included Anzac Day, have students create a replica map of the landing at Gallipoli, replica map of the whole Gallipoli battlefield and site, and actually put little signs in where all the different things took place and had statistics and all that sort of stuff. So it was a great activity. But what I particularly liked about it was because we made it over the holiday break, the Anzac holiday break, we found that it ended up becoming this whole multi-generational task, which was a beautiful, unintended sort of spin-off, because we had grandpa and grandma maybe getting out their old books and old maps of Gallipoli and being able to sit down and, well, the coastline looked like this, and they landed here on this beach, and this point was called, Lone Pine, and all that sort of stuff. And the children and the students were able to culturally connect with, multi-generational situation in a way that they've probably never been able to do in the past. And the quality of the conversation that took place when the students came back to school and were able to, throw up their worlds, their builds onto the TVs and onto the smart boards, and walk through with the class and being able to explain the depth of knowledge and understanding they have of a significant historical event. It just shows the depth and the level that you can get to when you create these virtual immersion experiences for students.
That story always gets me. Just the amazing fact that students are able to connect with people outside of the classroom and people outside of even their own age group in such a way. That's amazing. It's phenomenal.
Well, I've got to add a little piece to it, because like all good teachers, you don't always come up with those ideas in solitude. You see something else that someone's doing, and you grab that and say, I really like that. I'm just going to tweak that a bit and make that my own. But I've got to give a shout out to a really great New Zealand teacher to follow online, Palmy Teacher. So that's at Palmy, P-A-L-M-Y, Palmy Teacher. He was the first teacher I had seen actually start using Minecraft in an Anzac sort of concept. And when he actually grabbed it, I found out later, from the Auckland War Memorial. Now, if you actually go to the Auckland War Memorial, and I tweeted it out a couple of times during our MinecraftEdu chat, linked to their site, they actually have, since that task, because that initial task was about 2 years ago now. Since that task, they have created a quality virtual Minecraft walkthrough of that situation, and it's just mind-boggling. When you go on YouTube, there's 1,000 different YouTube clips to be able to have a look at what they're doing there. But that concept could be so easily adapted to other historical events. And then bang, you've got yourself a beautiful immersive environment.
Absolutely. And definitely encouragement to every teacher out there to start thinking outside the box and thinking about ways where you can create these experiences that not just immerse or give your students an opportunity to play within the environment, but also a chance to really engage. And that's one of the fundamental things that Minecraft allows, is because it's so culturally connected to students, they will go outside of their comfort zone to make it perfect and to iterate it appropriately. So you can push those elements. They'll do more research. So, this is interesting though, because it does segue into question 4. We're going to skip question 3 for the time being. But question 4 was about how do we ensure that the immersive experiences provide inclusive and authentic learning? And this is one of the challenges that I see a lot of teachers faces, and Mark alluded to it, which is the fact that, you know, we can create an environment in Minecraft and we can say, go build this or go build that. But how do we make it authentic? How do we make sure that it's inclusive for all types of learners, those who don't want to just sit and build? So any thoughts on that?
Look, I'll have a little bit of a yarn about authentic learning. We know is being able to take learning and make sure it's genuinely deep. It's not just, as you said before, a glorified worksheet. We're not just going through the motions, but we're creating experiences where, yes, children are still getting their explicit teaching, they're still getting their quality learning, they're still understanding their curriculum, but they're learning at a level that is deeper than they would have otherwise. So when you embed things like something that was my real awakening to the potential of Minecraft, which was a few years ago, reading Narnia in class, you know, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And one of our reading group activities was utilizing Minecraft. So it was supportive of a greater suite of activities that was happening. So we're making sure that it's not just the wow factor, but or you know, leaning towards something that's trendy and something that has a bit of fad, but we're making it part of the pedagogical suite of activities that we're putting together for the students. So in this particular activity, the students in their reading groups had to replicate the world of Narnia and actually make a story map of all of the events. And what I loved, well, I remember one group in particular created a wooden wardrobe, and you actually, that was spawn point. So you spawned into the wardrobe, and then you came out through all of these snow-covered spurs, fir trees, sorry, snow-covered fir trees. And then you had, they had built a light post. So it was exactly like the book. And you went off, and then they had Mr. Tumnus's house, and they had all the different parts of the story, the White Witch's castle, and the level of comprehension that they needed to have to be able to replicate that world in a detail that they did meant that their learning and their comprehension and their understanding and their recall of that book was at a deeper level than I could have ever asked for or created by giving them a worksheet or writing a summary or something like that.
And did you tell them that they had to use Minecraft for that, or did you kind of let them, or tell them what the project paradigms were, or put it into this bounded box? Did you do any of that, or was it just, okay, you know, you said, look, you know, show me what you know, and the kids went
It was a semi-scaffolded. It was a semi-scaffolded activity. So it was, they had once a week that scheduled time, a lot of time that they were to work on their Minecraft. But what I found was exactly what Mark was talking about earlier. The students became so immersed and loved what they were doing so much. I found out that they're organizing with their parents to do after-school meetups, and just so that they could get in there and work together. And I say that because I utilize Minecraft probably a little bit differently to most teachers. I generally use the PE edition, the Pocket edition for portable devices, because just the way my school is set up, we have a BYOG program, we have iPads. So at that time, there were no servers that the students could go from different houses. So they were literally physically meeting up over the weekend, after school, and even like getting excited when it was like rainy and lunch outside was cancelled, so they could work on their world.
So there's a key element to me that answers this question of how do we ensure that it's inclusive and authentic in one word, and that's choice. It's student choice. And I think when we give, that's one of the most powerful things I've seen in Minecraft is when we give students the opportunity to use it in the way that they want to use it, right? Yes, semi-scaffolded, semi-structured. You have to have your learning objectives in there, clearly stated, and kids need to follow those. But then Minecraft is this free and open opportunity to create in the way that they feel they want to. And that creates this engagement, that creates this empowerment, and creates that focus. And that's authentic learning right there.
Yeah.
So I think given the student choice question, the final question was a perfect question. And I'm not saying that because I helped write it, but no, how can we engage and rely on students in helping us develop these authentic experiences? Because I think I keep going back, and Mark said it and I'll say it again, is we can't have the glorified worksheet. We can't have Minecraft, a kid's favorite game, turn into just another classroom activity. So how do we rely on our students to do that? How do you get feedback and advice from your students on developing your lessons?
Look, I think being able to be genuinely open to evaluation and real reflection. One of the as teachers, I suppose, do we just do the same? We can easily say we've got like 20 years experience. So I'm coming up with 20 years of teaching this year, right? So have I got 20 years experience, or have I just done 1 year of teaching 20 times and replicated that same attitude, the same pedagogy, and 20 times over? That's really just I'm a 1 year experienced teacher. It's just like a Groundhog Day the 20 times. But I think being able to try new things, be reflective, but truly have opportunities for student voice and open up what we do so the students are co-creators. And I think that's that whole concept of having students who are creators of content rather than just consumers of content. That mantra is really forward thinking. And I think you can't replicate things because every student is different, every group is different, every cohort is different. So if you are going to have students who are genuinely creating their own content, obviously in a supportive way, so you're making sure that the learning is authentic, then it's going to be individualized each time.
Absolutely. I'm going to comment, since Mark is no longer here with us. I think he had to run out to a meeting. We had very finite amount of time to get this done today. But his comment on that question was listen to our students. Pitch ideas and let them do the heavy lifting. Don't give too much info, and set constraints and parameters. And I think there's such value in that point to get student voice, to get student choice, and to give students that opportunity to empower their own learning and therein develop a love of learning. I think it requires us to, and I'm going to focus in on a key thing, it requires us to set some constraints and parameters, not to do everything ourselves, not to do all the heavy lifting. If we give broad basic constraints, I think this is, and I'm going to sort of game design tactics here, but this is one of the things that I think made Minecraft such a success, is as in every game, there are rules, there are constraints. There are mechanics that have to be followed. The physics in the game doesn't change unless you modify it, right? All of those things are rules of the game, and every game has to have rules. But the best games nowadays are the ones that, and the ones that are driving forward, are the ones that allow players multiplicity levels of choice and option. One player is going to go off this way, one player is going to go off that way. And if we can start to do that and develop that for our students, giving them those options and those choices, then we'll be surprised, similar to Mark's anecdote about Mars. We'll be surprised at not only the level at which they create, but the effort that they put into creating it, including the amount of research that they do. And that's, I think, the sweet spot for education in the next 20, 30, 40, 100 years, if we can get to that.
Yeah, so, for sure.
This. Go ahead.
I noticed. No, I was going to say I noticed Nathan Stevens, who I assume is one of your regulars. I was fortunate enough to meet Nathan at ISTE last year, but he had a couple of really, really insightful tweets. I noticed a conversation he was having with one of my Aussie mates, Anna Do Think Educate, and they were talking a lot about it develops that, collaboration, but it also helps students develop their digital literacy skills, and then also that whole sense of, cyber citizenship and an appropriate way to behave online. So we're not only meeting curriculum and learning, but we're also shaping the way that students will interact in a virtual world in the future as well. So better to do that in a safe, supportive, educational environment than to cut them loose sort of in the wild of the virtual world.
Absolutely. Brilliant point. And yeah, Nathan Stevens is a brilliant educator, and he does a lot of very inclusive and authentic teaching. He focuses very much on play-based tactics and really treats his students as they're the ones who are running the classroom. Yeah. Not to bring it back to myself, but I was in consulting for many years in business. And one of the biggest things that I always tried to empower and impact, the managers and the leaders that I worked with was this thought: you may be the boss, but your employees manage you. They're the ones who control the fate of the organization. And it's the exact same thing when it comes to leadership in this school. And I don't mean, they're the ones making all the decisions. Obviously, experience has to sit on, the teacher's shoulders and above the administrators and the government. So that experience is there. But if they're happy in what they're doing, if you give them good guidance and good boundaries, but not restrictive boundaries, then they're going to flourish. They're going to grow. They're going to work harder for you.
Scaffold for success.
That's it. And therein boost the value of the company and boost the value of the school and the classroom. So I think that's right around the idea of what we're talking about: immersive virtual environments, creating these immersive experiences where students can get in, feel empowered, feel like they're doing something and contributing something to the world. Is such a powerful way to teach. And I want to thank you so much, Brett, on behalf of myself and Mark, who is not here with us anymore. But I want to thank you very, very much for taking the time to speak with us today. It was fantastic.
Not a problem.
I know I'm not looking at the camera, but I'm looking at Brett's image down there. It was fantastic to have you, and perfect topic for discussion. So thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for generating the questions that brought so many people to the conversation. So any final thoughts that you want to share with the community before we close out the after chat?
Look, Garrett, probably the only thing that I might say is something that we were having a little bit of a yarn about earlier. And that's one of the things that I really love about Minecraft, is that it's this great leveler. You could be at any particular level. And I look at my own children here. It's Saturday morning here, and I don't know if you could hear a couple of the doors just opened up as they started to wake up and wander in and wonder why Dad's talking on the computer. But I've got a number of children of all different ages, and I don't know any other game or any other experience or activity where I can have children from a broad spectrum of ages, and then myself as an adult sit down and collaborate as genuine equals. And I said a thing to you before. I like Minecraft as an educational tool. I use it in my classroom. I like it. If you're smart about it, you get terrific, tremendous results. I like it as a teacher, but I love it as a parent because I can sit down there and do things that you just can't do in any other circumstance.
Excellent final point. A beautiful way to tie off the MinecraftEdu After Chat. For those of you who are watching, whether it's during the live stream or whether it's afterwards, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Please leave any questions in the comments. We do get to them, and we'll do our best to answer them. But I want to, again, thank Brett and make sure that you guys have an opportunity to reach out to him as well. So his Twitter handle is at Mr. Salakas. That is Salakas. With an MR before it, and you can connect with him on Twitter. You can also connect with him via the hashtag MinecraftEdu and the rest of the broad global community of Minecraft educators out there who are working tirelessly, whether it's with their classrooms to support new ways of learning for you and your classrooms to take on an approach, or working with Microsoft to help them develop Minecraft Education Edition and other versions into a tool that works better for your classrooms. So please reach out to us there, and make sure that you guys don't miss the next week's MinecraftEdu Twitter chat, where we will be discussing, and if I can find it here, that'll be the 24th. We're going to be talking with Stephen Isaacs, who is a regular on the MinecraftEdu Twitter chats. He is the mentor of the week next week, so keep an eye out for his blog posts and his posts. And he'll be talking about leveraging student voice with games like Minecraft, a perfect segue from this conversation here tonight. So we look forward to speaking with you then, Tuesday at 8:00 p.m. Brett, thank you one more time. And to all of you guys out there, we'll see you guys later. Have a good week.
All right, see you later.